This is an anime recap video, and in this video, I'm going to show you an emo boy named Ichikawa, who makes his beautiful classmate, Yamada, fall for him. The anime starts with Kai and others asking Ichikawa about his broken arm. Kai tells him that Yamada has told them everything, including how he falls on the snow mountain in Akita. Just then, Adachi, seeing the attention Ichikawa is receiving from the girls, gets jealous and warns him not to get cocky in front of him just because of a broken bone. Ichikawa's grasp on his female classmate's attention stops when they notice his Akita keychain. Before they leave, Yamada whispers in his ear and informs him to come to her if he's ever having trouble. Just then, Hara sees their heartfelt conversation and looks at the keychain of Ichikawa, which matches with Yamada's, and believes that something is going on between them. Later, Ichikawa meets his classroom teacher, who asks him about his broken arm. His teacher offers to lend him help by assigning him a classmate who can assist him in his studies and take care of his arm. He suggests Yamada for this task, believing that she is close to him. However, Ichikawa turns his request down, stating that they are not close to each other and they barely talk with each other. He assures him that he is fine and will find somebody from class to help him. When he enters the classroom, he sees Yamada, who heard everything, and gives him a dissatisfied look, causing him to panic. She then leaves, causing Ichikawa to realize that he has blown everything away after getting a little bit close to her. At his desk, he begins to copy the notes but realizes that he can't write them with his left hand. He believes he'll need someone to give him a copy of today's notes. Yamada sees this, and before he can say anything, she leaves the classroom. After a few minutes, Adachi comes in and gives him the written notes, informing him that Yamada requested her to copy those notes for him. He even tells him that Yamada has called him a kind and cool guy, believing that she might be interested in him. Feeling jealous, Ichikawa gives him the killer look, causing Adachi to retreat. After school, he confronts Yamada about his conversation with their teacher and apologizes for saying those words. He informs her that he does not want to cause any problem for her, so that's why he tells her that he doesn't want to rely on her. However, he admits that if something happens to him, then he wants to rely on Yamada. Hearing this, Yamada smiles and says that she already knew this from the beginning, causing our boy to go low and cover his face. While walking home together, she asks Ichikawa to give her his bag so she can hold it. Ichikawa initially denies it, believing that the bag is heavy and she might hurt her hands. However, he then realizes that if he doesn't do so, he might upset her. After giving her his school bag, he asks Yamada not to converse with Adachi too much, causing her to wonder if he's jealous. She playfully asks why, but Ichikawa doesn't give any answer. After that, Yamada helps Ichikawa with things for several weeks, including eating lunch, reading books, and copying notes. Ichikawa reflects on it all and admits he's not used to Yamada's methods. During class, Ichikawa hears Adachi and other male classmates discussing a magazine. Adachi, the cheeky guy, believes that the magazine must have some racy pics, but another student informs him that it is an idol magazine with Yamada in it, causing Adachi to go crazy after seeing her photos. However, he wonders what Yamada is doing in the magazine since she is a model. Ichikawa informs them that despite being a model, Yamada appeared in several variety shows and movies, and her model agency must have told her to do it. The boys wonder if Yamada's trying to become an idol, causing Ichikawa to think that she never told him about this. Just then, Adachi wonders what Yamada would look like in a swimsuit. But when Yamada passes by, he puts a hand on his mouth and stops thinking about it. Later, Yamada asks Ichikawa what he, Adachi, and the others were discussing earlier in the class. Ichikawa clarifies that it was nothing special, causing Yamada to think that they must be talking about boys' things. The two then visit a convenience store, and in her excitement, she shows him a magazine that features her. She shares details about her experience working with this company and their staff, but she stops midway, realizing that Ichikawa might feel bad about this. However, our caring boy, always loving and caring, informs her that he likes her usual look and when she is honest about everything. Hearing this, she purchases magazines for Ichikawa and the two leave the store. On the way, Ichikawa plans to ask questions about Yamada's work so he can learn more about her but hesitates to ask it. Yamada shows him more photos from the magazine and asks Ichikawa which one he likes the most. Ichikawa says that he does not like any one but admits that she looks completely different than she does in the magazine. Hearing this, Yamada realizes that Ichikawa must have seen the magazine before, to which Ichikawa confirms it, stating that his sister accidentally brought the magazine yesterday. She then informs Ichikawa about how different the idol life feels in comparison to her normal one, but she completely enjoys it. During their home economics class, Yamada tries to break eggs but ends up messing them all up. Hara chats with Ichikawa about what he is doing over winter break, to which he replies going over to his hometown and then breaking his hand. She then asks Yamada a similar question, and she lists a bunch of things she is doing over the holiday, including spending time with Ichikawa on Christmas Eve. When Yamada asks Hara about winter breaks, she confirms that she and Kanzaki visit a shrine, and things get awkward between them because Kanzaki shows up with his grown-out sideburns. Due to that, she doesn't know what to do in these types of conditions and asks Yamada what she should do. Yamada looks at Ichikawa and then tells her that she does not have someone in her life, so she doesn't know. Suddenly, their home economics teacher arrives and tells them to tuck their bangs under their bandanas. Ichikawa, whose hand is still injured, does not know how to do it, but Yamada helps him out, causing her also to laugh at his current look. While she assists Ichikawa with his bandana, Hara again realizes something is up between the two. The three then reunite with Adachi and another classmate over the food they make in class. Before Yamada eats Adachi's dish, Ichikawa snatches it and eats it first. He tells Adachi it tastes great. Hara notices Ichikawa's keychain falls onto the ground, picks it up, and hands it to him. Yamada remarks how cute the keychain is, and before Hara can ask Ichikawa about it, Kanzaki arrives and chats with her. In the library, Ichikawa thinks about whether Hara knows what's happening between him and Yamada. He thinks about how Yamada might respond to Hara if she asks questions about it. While helping Ichikawa, Yamada falls asleep. Apologizing for doing so, Ichikawa admits that she apologizes to him frequently. To lift Yamada's spirits, Ichikawa shows a photo of his sister during her coming-of-age ceremony. After that, Ichikawa displays a snowy landscape photo he took, as per Yamada's request from Season 1. By accident, he discloses to Yamada that this is how he broke his arm, causing her to feel sad again. Ichikawa clarifies to Yamada that he fell because he wasn't careful enough. The two depart the library in an awkward situation. The next day, Ichikawa thinks about Yamada and why she hasn't been in contact with him as much lately. Kai, Moko, and Serena confront Ichikawa and asks him about Yamada's recent unusual behavior. Yamada enters the class, greets everyone, but realizes her keychain is missing. Ichikawa is unsure whether he should lend her his keychain or not. At the same time, Kintaro's teacher announces an early end to today's lecture due to upcoming weather issues. Ichikawa encounters Hara and Kanzaki by the lockers. Hara brings up the keychain incident, informing him that Yamada is very upset about the keychain. Ichikawa, knowing that how much he cares about that keychain, leaves the school to search for it. He searches on the way to the school, but Moko spots him, informing him that he is searching for the wrong side and directs him in the right direction. While on the hunt for Yamada's keychain, he runs into Yamada. It turned out that Moko sent Yamada a photo about Ichikawa looking for something. While crying, Yamada informs him that she looked everywhere in her home but couldn't find it. Before she can cry even more, Ichikawa sees her keychain hanging on a tree. He picks it up and hands it over to Yamada. She expresses her gratitude for his help in finding it. Ichikawa sneezes, and Yamada suggests he stop by her home to warm up, much to his shock. Inside Yamada's apartment, Yamada turns on the hot water using the house computer, imitating the electronic voice saying it is preparing a bath, and Ichikawa tells her not to mimic it. He asks about her parents, and she says they're at work as she grabs a towel and wipes down his hair. She asks what's bad about it but becomes aware of her actions and tells him to wipe himself down. He then walks into the bathroom and tries to keep himself calm. Yamada asks how the water is from behind the door, and Ichikawa replies that he hasn't gotten in yet but quickly finishes undressing and sits himself down in the tub. He begins inspecting the tub, looking around for things of Yamada's, but quickly stops himself from doing so. He begins to get up, but Yamada appears in the doorway and calls his name, causing him to dive back down into the water. He asks what she wants, and she replies that she brought him a change of clothes. He gets out of the bath and looks at the clothes she brought out, realizing it's her school sports jersey and pants, but notices that his underwear is missing. He awkwardly puts on the sportswear and attempts to sneak out of the bathroom but is immediately caught by Wataru. Yamada walks into the room and offers him one of 2 different hot pot flavors in a package. He chooses one and considers how the situation he's in is like being surrounded by sharks on a flimsy raft. As he begins to walk, Wataru bites his pants, causing his clothes to begin to fall off him. Yamada immediately jumps in, grabbing the pants and pulling them up in close contact with Ichikawa. Ichikawa, being pressed up against Yamada's chest, joins the dog by bowing on the floor. After managing to put on his underwear, Yamada comes out of her room, holding a book and now wearing a bear-themed hoodie. He asks why she changed, and she explains that she got it as a gift from Mo but hadn't had a chance to wear it. They sit down at the table before the active hot pot, and she talks about how on days where she'll be alone until late, she always makes anicaps. She then looks at him and asks if they can eat hot pot together once in a while. But Ichikawa swiftly changes the topic to the book she brought from her room, which is revealed to be her graduation album. Ichikawa looks at her official picture and notes that she's eating in all of the candid ones. Having finished looking through her pictures, he brings up the piano in the corner of the room, asking if she plays. She says she took lessons for about a year alongside ballet, English, swimming, and kendo, quitting them all quickly. She comments on how she tried all of those things but never felt like she had real talent in them. She said whenever the other kids in her classes ended up doing better than her, she would get frustrated and immediately quit. When she did, her parents would make her favorite foods. She says that she has been blessed to be around so many great people but that lately she feels like a nuisance, and she fears that one day she'll do something that will make someone truly hate her, and she begins tearing up. Ichikawa tries to comfort her, but she brings up when he didn't talk to her for a few days before winter break. She asks if there maybe was a reason for that and begins to wipe her tears away, saying that she's being annoying. Suddenly, Ichikawa gets out of his chair and embraces her with a hug. She grabs onto his jersey, and he openly apologizes for lying, saying that he was too weak and was afraid of getting hurt and tried to hide inside of his shell. Later, Yamada serves a hot pot bowl for Ichikawa, and they begin to talk. Ichikawa remarks that she's starting to behave like an adult but adds that being an adult isn't all that great. She laughs, acknowledging that it may also be true. Suddenly, she realizes that she hasn't checked her phone recently and has received several line messages. As she reads, she mentions that her mother is near the convenience store, revealing that she received the message 12 minutes ago. The two are shocked as they hear the lock tumbling across the room, indicating her mother's attempt to enter from the cold and snow. Sani walks into the apartment, announcing her arrival. Yamada greets her, and Sani notices the extra pair of shoes, asking if she has a friend over. Yamada explains that Kai is visiting. Inside the room, Ichikawa panics, questioning how he keeps getting into these situations. Yamada reassures him, saying it's fine, and that she has friends over all the time. He inquires if she ever has male friends over, and she denies it. Shocked, she takes him into her room and closes the door. Outside, Sani asks about the remaining hot pot still on the table, which Yamada claims she made herself, and instructs her to take a bath. Ichikawa, listening from the door, suggests that her taking a bath could be his opportunity to escape. Sani then informs Yamada that her father will be home soon and heads to the bathroom, giving Yamada a chance to go back into her room with Ichikawa. She tells him that her father is on his way, causing panic in his eyes. They sit down on her bed, and he asks what kind of person her father is. She looks at Ichikawa and reveals that they have similar personalities. Sani bursts through the door just as Yamada gets Ichikawa under the blankets. She marches up to the bed, inquiring about Kai's allergies and if it's okay that she ate from the hot pot. Yamada tries to downplay things, claiming she ate most of it, and Ichikawa attempts his best falsetto imitation of Kai, apologizing for intruding. Sani leaves, seemingly satisfied, and the two kids apologize, with Ichikawa clarifying that his presence led her to lie to her mother. His eyes wander to her windowsill, where a bottle of royal milk tea is sitting, and suddenly, she tackles and pins him to her bed. She leans in close and says that this is payback for last time. She asserts that it's fine even though this is the first secret she's kept from her mother, but hops off him and declares herself an adult. Ichikawa, covering his face, retorts how she thinks that way despite calling herself in the third person at home, causing her to blush, and he pleads with her not to tell anyone. Outside the apartment, Yamada waves Ichikawa goodbye after giving him a coat. He calls his parents to come and pick him up at the convenience store on the street and makes his way to the elevator, beginning to ride it down, exhausted. She reflects on all the secrets they managed to keep and contemplates how different her mother is compared to what her outer appearance implies. When the elevator doors open, a giant of a man wearing a chef's apron underneath his coat is standing higher than the doorframe of the elevator and looks him over, staring at the Yamada 2-3 emblazoned on his jersey. Ichikawa runs off, intimidated by the titan of a man, who looks back at him as he passes, and Ichikawa vows never to return to such a scary place as a high-rise apartment. In Ichikawa's room, Lucifer Nigorikawa lectures Ichikawa, highlighting the progress he's made with Yamada just from visiting her apartment. Ichikawa attempts to dismiss it, claiming she treats him like any of her other friends. He reflects on not understanding the difference between the distance in friendship and lovers. Leaving his room, he starts biking to school, realizing he no longer has his caste but noticing something wrong with his voice. At school, he encounters Yamada and Chai. Chai points out his healed arm, and Yamada, pulling Chai away, mentions she noticed first. Chai shares a silly story about Yamada eating rice balls, with Yamada correcting her. Ichikawa responds with a non-committal that's nice, and Chai laughs, saying he's the same as always. Yamada asks if his arm is completely healed, and he mentions he can't lift heavy things. In the classroom, Yamada sends him a text, suggesting it's fine if he doesn't want to talk in public but asks him to at least look her in the eyes at school. He turns around to confirm, and she brightens up. He considers that the problem isn't just about eye contact. Later in the day, they meet up in the library, and he mentions having trouble speaking. Yamada panics, thinking it's a cold, but he clarifies that his voice is just cracking. Unconvinced, he distracts her by comparing his right arm's thickness, offering both arms for comparison. She squeezes them but quickly stops, still concerned about him being cold, even as he continues to deny it, with his voice cracking again. He explains that his voice is undergoing changes, reflecting on how he previously mentioned her growing up. Now, he acknowledges his own fear of growing, contemplating whether she perceives him as just another friend. He's content with that notion for now. However, she expresses amazement at his statement. Excitedly, she lists potential changes he might experience, such as a deeper voice and facial hair growth. She offers to get red rice, but he clarifies that's not the reason. Taking his arms into her hands, she compares them, noting that his right arm didn't get thinner, his left arm got thicker. He reflects on how she consistently notices things about him that he doesn't, and she eagerly anticipates his changes. Leaning forward, she expresses her desire for him to call out to her all the time once his voice deepens. Realizing their proximity and her unintended closeness to his chest, she recoils in embarrassment. Nigorakawa materializes and encourages Ichikawa to pursue it as they both look away from each other. Like and comment if you enjoy this video. Subscribe to my channel for more anime recaps, and tell me what anime recap you like to see next in the comments below.